Hey everyone, today's the Lazy K Homestead. Day 17 of the countdown to Christmas. Today we're going to make cheesecake. Just a regular cheesecake. But this cheesecake is a cheesecake that my sister-in-law Julie used to make. She was the cheesecake maker in our family, and sadly she passed away a few years ago from breast cancer. So I try to keep the recipe alive in her memory, and I'm going to be taking this cheesecake up to Virginia when I go visit for the holidays. So everyone enjoys it, and we always reminisce about her and her cheesecake because she was really famous for that. So here we go. What we're going to need are 4 room temperature cream cheese, 8-ounce cream cheeses. So I've got them out, 4 of them. Let me go ahead and put my tripod down so you can see what I'm doing. Just going to go ahead, and my hands are clean. I know I always say that because there are people that'll go like, oh my gosh, they're using their hands. Well, I do use my hands. It's just for me and my family. If I were working in a bakery or somewhere or selling these, I would definitely use gloves. So please don't worry. All right. So what we're going to do is go ahead and make it so my beater can go down in there. It's always technical difficulties here on the homestead. All right, I'm going to lock this real fast, and I'm just going to put it on low. And I'm going to let it mix that, and I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, with this recipe, you have to really make sure that these are at room temperature because otherwise cream cheese will get really lumpy. And it is very hard to get those lumps out of cream cheese. I have found in my baking, cooking career as a home baker. So maybe there's a special way to do that other than making sure they're at room temperature. I don't know. All right, let me turn it off for a minute. And I am going to go ahead and just scrape this down, even though I've got my scraper beater on there. Okay, let's see. Alrighty. Do you guys ever watch any of those baking shows? Like my favorite is the Great British Baking Show. I love that show. All right, that's a whole lot better. And my hands are messy. All right, that's coming together really well. I'm just going to turn it up for a minute just to kind of whip some air into that. Now, I will tell you, when Julie made these cheesecakes, I never really attempted to make them. I did try 1 or 2 before she left us, and they weren't anything near. But I did manage to get her recipe, and this is such a simple cheesecake. And I was always afraid to make cheesecakes, but not anymore. It just goes together. What I use is a springform pan. Are you guys familiar with that? What that is it has a lock, and the bottom comes out. So when you have your cheesecake in there and you unlock it, you just lift that up, and there it is right there, and that's the plate that you have it on. Super simple. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can use a 9x13 baking. That's perfectly fine. Okay, let me put that back over there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add 4 eggs, room temperature eggs, and I'm going to add 1 at a time. Just so that they're really nicely incorporated in this mixture. And I'm probably going to have to scrape my sides down a little bit. It is doing better though. Number 2, these are fresh hen eggs I collected this morning from my girls. Oh my gosh, last night, you guys. you know, the weather's been kind of funky back and forth with temperatures. So last night, I'm getting ready to go pick up Willis, and it was dark. It was probably 6 o'clock. And I had to go shut up my hens before I left. I do that in the winter especially, and it was pouring rain. I mean, it was pouring. And I heard one of my hens making a funny sound down there. So I ran down there. I had Willis on the phone. I said, I got to go. Something's going on. So I ran down there, and it's a little ways from the house. But when it comes to my chickens or my animals, it doesn't matter. I'm going to run. Okay. So I got in there, and there was a great big possum. Okay, so what we like in our for our cheesecakes, a graham cracker bottom. Some people don't do that; they just have the cheesecake without, which is fine. But I like a little bottom on mine. So what I do is I use my food processor. Now, if you don't have a food processor, you can use your rolling pin and a gallon bag, and just put your graham crackers in there and just roll it. And if you don't have a rolling pin, just use a canned good, like a can of peas or whatever, and just roll it until it's finely ground. So I'm using just about a packet of graham crackers that comes in the box, and I break them up a little bit before I even put them through the food processor. It helps them, and that way there's not any that decide they don't want to behave. So let me get my lid. So I'm just going to grind these up. Whoops, but I don't have it plugged in. Always a technical difficulty in my house. Real life though, isn't it? Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, we've got still a few in there, so I'm just all right, we've got a few that don't want to. I just go in there with my hands and grind them. I don't know why they do that, but let's just do it one more time. I'll just pull it. Okay, I think that's it. Sorry for all the noise. But anyway, also I add a 1/4 cup of room temperature softened butter. You can use melted. Whoops. But I'm just going to use that for now. And what this does is enriches this graham cracker and makes it easier for you to press down into your springform pan or your 9x13 or whatever you're using. Now, I normally put finely chopped nuts in here, like pecans or walnuts, but my daughter, Kathleen, my granddaughter, is allergic to them. She's allergic to all tree nuts, even peanut butter and shrimp and everything. So I'm going to make it without anything. And she can eat graham crackers, her mom said. So we'll be happy to have that for her to eat something. I've had to make other things without the peanut butter and just the chocolate and stuff like that for her. But anything for my baby girl. All right, let's mix this up. Now, first, let me go ahead and just put a little bit of sugar in here. I'm going to just eyeball it to about a tablespoon, just some white sugar. You could use brown sugar if you want to, whatever you choose. All right, let's mix this. Let me So really what I'm doing is I'm just pulsing it in there, just like you would if you were making a pie dough, just to get the fat incorporated into your flour, which for us right now is graham cracker. All right, so let me move this stuff over here. I've got my oven set on 350, and what we're going to do is we're going to bake the crust for 10 minutes and then set it out, and then we'll go ahead and make the filling. So I just pour that in there. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can just let me put my tripod down. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing. And get out one of my measuring cups. Now you can just press it down with your hand. That's pretty much what I do. Just press it down so it's really level. I don't go up the sides. Some people do, and if you want to do that, you just have to add a little bit more graham cracker. So see how that is? And then I go ahead and I take the bottom of a measuring cup and I just go and press it down so I know that it's nice and level. And just all over that there. Okay. And if you make some little holes in there, you can just go back and fill them in with your fingers. Okay. There we go. Nice and level. All right. So this is going to go in our preheated oven, 350 for 10 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, let's continue. Oh, I keep forgetting. You know, I need to get one of those things that has a bunch of plugs. Going to mix those eggs in here. And this gets nice and fluffy. Your eggs are what makes the cheesecake rise. And it just gets nice and fluffy, and it's just beautiful. And let me get a spatula. While that is just nicely fluffed up. Let me see if I can get that in there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. See? Isn't that nice? All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, unlock it, scrape the sides down, because again, if you have any cream cheese that looks like it hasn't mixed with this egg mixture, you want to make sure that it's all mixed, because it will be lumpy in your cheesecake, believe it or not. It doesn't really cook out. In my experience, anyway. Just going to go ahead and mix it one more time. All right, go ahead and turn that off. I think we're good there. And now we are going to pour in 1 cup of white sugar. Scrape that down a little bit. And we are going to mix that well. Oh, this cheesecake is so good. Hope Julie's looking down from heaven going, good going, Denise. We used to have nice Christmases over there where they lived in Virginia. Okay, and now we are going to add 1 16-ounce jar or container full of sour cream. And the whole thing goes in there. All right, set that aside and we'll blend this well. You can hear it, it's nice and frothy. And then I'm going to add some vanilla. Now, if you guys wanted to make this a different flavor, like a lemon cheesecake or maple cheesecake or whatever flavor cheesecake you wanted, you would just add it to this. I just do 1 teaspoon per cheesecake mix because you really want to have the nice tart, sweet, and then just a hint of whatever extract you put in there. I went up to Alaska a few years back, and I went out. My son lived up there at the time, and on our last night, we went to this really nice restaurant in Fairbanks, and I had a piece of lemon cheesecake, and I mean, it was to die for. Well, I called them over and asked them, and they said they used lemon extract, lemon juice, and then they put a little bit of lemon, yellow food coloring in it. and it was so pale. I mean, you can tell it was yellow, but it was really yummy. Oh man, and they served it with fresh fruit, blackberries, raspberries, and it was really wonderful. So that's a good memory. So I'm just going to put 1 teaspoon of vanilla in here. That's all you need. If you're going to use a really strong extract, I would recommend that you put a half a teaspoon in it first, and then taste your batter, and then adjust accordingly. I know a lot of people don't want to taste because it's raw eggs, but that's the only way I know besides ruining a good cheesecake. And these are not cheap to make, to do that. So you do whatever you feel that's good for you, and that's what's good for me. Okay, so I'm going to go turn that off, lift that out, and once again, scrape down these sides. This is a lot of batter in here, and I would say that's probably why these scrapers aren't scraping up the top, but that's okay. I am really tickled with the way it is producing and keeping everything blended. One more time here. Okay, I think we are done for now. Okay, I've got my graham cracker crust out of the oven. It was set at 350 for 10 minutes. See how nice it is? You're going to want to now back down your temperature to 325, and you're going to wait a few minutes while that does that. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my story about the possum. Willis had come in and got me, he needed something, so I forgot where I was. Anyways, there was a possum in my chicken coop last night, and normally my dog Brady, he's getting old now, but normally he makes sure this doesn't happen. So I ran down there. Like I said, there was this possum. He was huge. He was as big as a small dog, like maybe a Yorkie. He was that big. He was like that big around. Climbing up to the chickens, and see, I have been missing eggs, and I just thought, well, it's because the temperatures have been changing. Oh no, this guy had a mouth, big mouth, teeth. So I tried to get him out, tried to pull his tail. He was like hissing, vicious, trying to snap at me. I got a stick, I poked at him, couldn't get him out. So I had to go and take care of business. And I'm not going to elaborate on that because I don't want anybody to be offended and stop watching my channel. But when something's after my livestock, and my chickens make me money, and I had to. So anyways, that was my story last night in the pouring rain. It was crazy with why I don't have any eggs. So now I know. Back to the cheesecake. Okay, this is cooled enough now to where we can go ahead and pour our cheesecake batter in. All right, go ahead and just scrape that off a bit. Like I said, I really like this because things don't really stick to it. I still make a mess though. Okay, let's see. What did I do with my spatula? Here it is. All right, go ahead and pour this in. See, let me put this down so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Just pouring it right in there. Look at that nice cheesecake. Oh man, I'm gonna have to turn it around here. All right. I'm sorry if you can't see me. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. I'll do it blindsided. There we go. Now, if you find that you're in here scraping this cheesecake batter off into your pan, and there's some cream cheese that has not mixed well, do not scrape that in here. Just let it be, because like I said, it will not melt well. It won't cook. It won't dissolve if it's a lot of lumps. Okay, so I just kind of level that off a little bit. Okay, and that's cool. And like always, I always just kind of tap it. Well, now it is ready to go in the oven at 325 for approximately 50 minutes. And then when we get to that point, I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. It is going to really rise and look like a monster, but it goes back down. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, guys, this is at 50 minutes. I said I would come back at 50 minutes. You see that sunken area in the middle? You want your cheesecake to rise above that. So I'm going to go ahead and let it go for another 10 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, this is at 60 minutes. This is the cheesecake. You see how it just has a little teeny bitty indentation in the middle. It is done. It's still hot, but I'm going to see. See, it doesn't jiggle like it's raw. So I'm just going to let it cool, and then I will show you the finished product.